Welcome back, Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. One of the only good things to come out of this stupid, amazing, terrible Russia hoax and the disaster for our country that happened to General Flynn is I became friends with Joe Flynn, who's General Flynn's brother, and also General Flynn and his wife Lori, and my wife and I. They're wonderful, incredible, inspiring people, kind of classic American people. In fact, later on in the show, I told you I will talk about the birthday of General Jack Singlaub, the great general who is a friend of General Flynn's. He turns 99 tomorrow. But it's just, you meet the people like this, the Flynn family, you're like, oh, America's great because we got all these people. So Joe Flynn joins us today, and Joe's going to fill us in on what the newest insanity in his brother's case is and otherwise catch up. So, Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Ed. Doing well. Doing a little bit better than we were doing yesterday. I was a little bit angry yesterday with the outcome of what came out. We're still in this. As a lot of people had reached out when they heard the DOJ drop the charges, and then they heard that the mandamus was issued. And I keep telling people, there's nothing to congratulate yet because we're not done yet, and we're certainly not done yet, based on what transpired yesterday. So.
Well, so let me fill in our listeners on the facts of this. So the case at this point, the judge in the Mike Flynn case, the General Flynn case, was told by his superiors, which is the Court of Appeals, he was told, you must let the case go. And instead of doing that, he then appealed and said, wait, can I have one last-ditch effort to look at this, and I'll file this lengthy 90-page brief saying why you shouldn't do this. And so then today, the court said, well, we'll take a brief from General Flynn and from the Department of Justice, 10 pages each in, I think, 10 days before we make a judgment, meaning, I guess they're hearing from everybody. But the point here is it should be over. Everybody in the thing has said it's over. There's no way it's going to happen, but you're still stuck in the system. And so it's kind of like the worst of all worlds. Joe, let me first ask you about this. A lot of people ask me, General Flynn's been through all this. Is the legal defense fund still going? Can you tell us about where to go so people can chip in? Because I know he's a general. Generals have nice retirement, but they're never rich. Generals are never rich.
That's
Their
right.
retirement is like normal pay. So tell us about that and give us a sense that he's doing. He and his family are stable and well.
Yeah. Well, first off, we are stable and well, and we're used to this. We were not surprised by Judge Sullivan's reaction, him wanting what they call an en banc review, which is basically calling out, trying to ask that not just the panel that already issued the writ of mandamus, but all the rest of the judges on the appeals court weigh in on this, which again lengthens this thing. What happened today was they said Sydney and the government have until July 20th to respond, which of course this was supposed to be over on the 16th of July, so it extends it. I mean, looks like it's still going to be a long, hot summer with all of this. So our legal defense fund is still super important to us. You can find it at www.mikeflynndefensefund.org. And, we've been incredibly blessed by, literally thousands of patriots around the country that have given small donations and really kept us alive through this whole thing. And it's just been an incredibly humbling and amazing thing to get that support.
Yeah, so we're talking with Joe Flynn, the brother of General Mike Flynn, and Joe himself is an executive in business and does a bunch of things. He's his younger brother, though, so he's not nearly as old as Mike. Don't tell him, Mike, I'm saying that. But Joe,
well, he looks a lot younger than me.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks like he was president of the United States. If you see a picture of Mike Flynn on the day he goes into the White House in January 2017 and today, he looks like I'm sorry, I love him, but he looks older. It's taken a toll in terms of that. But it would on anybody.
Definitely.
It would on anybody.
Well,
Joe, tell us. Tell us what you see. You're the brother, but you're in this. You're very close to your brother and the legal team. What do you see that we've now seen publicly, put out there, these documents and things? And, I know we're all frustrated. A lot of people listening are frustrated, but tell us some of the details here.
Well, another thing happened today, if people were paying attention, that the FBI had once again given Sydney more exculpatory information, which became unsealed today, and it showed once again that the FBI had written him off as an agent of Russian collusion, had basically said, he didn't lie in any of his interviews. All of this information was withheld from him prior to pleading guilty. So the more time goes on, actually, the worse it looks for Judge Sullivan because more exculpatory information comes out, which Sidney had asked for late last year, and he denied. So it's really bizarre what's going on here. It's really a constitutional crisis at this point. You've got the executive branch saying there is no case and there is no controversy, and we're dropping the charges. You've got the defendant saying, okay, we accept that. And the court, meaning Judge Sullivan's court, is holding this whole case hostage for no good reason. And it's very difficult, and it's unnecessary. And I think it's bad for America. I really do.
You know, one of the things, though, that is I said to on the phone earlier today, I had a call from someone, we were talking about this. I hate to say this, and there's no way this is worth it, but there is this benefit to the process. The kinds of documents that are regularly being released now, there were some that came out, I think, earlier today or late yesterday, that are the handwritten notes that show that the FBI had decided there wasn't a case, that they were just, and then all these other things, these sort of, the Biden in the Oval Office, Biden suggesting use the Logan Act, and all that stuff would have disappeared if the case had been dropped or if they had accepted a plea, and they would have sealed up the boxes and gone away. And in some twisted way, this has led to what is the exposing of the most, really diabolical efforts to tie up the presidency and General Mike Flynn. It's hard to feel good about that, but that's true. And you must be like looking at these documents and thinking, how can it be that they tried to do this in the face of everything that they had in their possession?
Well, I tell you what's sad and infuriating about this is all this information has come out, particularly showing that Joe Biden and Barack Obama were very involved in the persecution of General Flynn, in the hunting of General Flynn, in the setup of General Flynn, and not one person in the mainstream media has asked Joe Biden that question or Barack Obama the question. What did you know about setting up General Flynn? Joe Biden denied it, and then it came out after he denied it that he specifically asked for the Logan Act. Now, this is important because, remember, now this is a peaceful transition of power between one administration and the next duly elected administration that they were actively trying to sabotage. And this guy's running for president of the United States right now against Donald Trump. This is a serious problem that really needs to be addressed, and I hope to God it does by somebody in the press, especially during these debates. Hopefully, if there's debates.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, the press is starting to ramp up to protect Joe Biden from the debates. Yeah. Okay, Joe, let me ask you, Joe. We're talking with Joe Flynn, the brother of General Mike Flynn. You know, I suspect but don't know that the Flynn family was, I don't know, political enough. I've heard stories of your mother being a great pro-lifer and a great pro-life Democrat in Rhode Island, you know, that old classic Irish, you know, kind of family. But I don't know if you all were partisan, like involved in politics much, but now you got all these brothers and sisters of yours. You see what's happened to your brother. Is your family more committed to being in the fray politically, or like saying, "Hey, the system's out"? I mean, I don't mean just you. I know you're fighting, and so is the general. But your sister and your brothers and all. What do you think? What should you tell us about that?
I mean, listen, we still have some people in uniform, so they have to be neutral, obviously. But no, I would say that we're way more motivated than we ever were to be in the fray. What's nice about it is that we've got 8 siblings, as you know, and with a large family, a lot of people have large families, and you know, half of them are Democrats or half of them are Republicans, or some of them are this and some are that. In our family's case, we're very united in our number one, in our support for President Trump and his agenda, and number 2, in our disgust with what has happened to the party that we were members of for many years. My mother, as you mentioned, was a very active pro-life Democrat back in the day, with the Ray Flynn's of the world, you know, Mayor Boston, you know, that whole wing of the Democratic Party has completely disappeared because the Democrats are unrecognizable now. They really have kowtowed to the Marxists. And that disgusts us, quite honestly, to see what has happened to the Democratic Party, the party that we were affiliated with for many years, like a lot of Irish Catholics in the Northeast. And so now I would say we are way more motivated to fight against that, because it really comes down to the future of this country and what direction this country is going to go in. And we certainly don't want it to go in the direction that Joe Biden and his ilk are pushing right now.
Yeah, it's certainly one to worry about. All right, Joe Flynn, say one more time that website for the Defense Fund, please.
Yes, Ed, it's MikeFlynnDefenseFund.org. That's MikeFlynnDefenseFund.org, and certainly appreciate everybody's support. And I want to say God bless all of you, and God bless America.
All right. Thanks, Joe. We appreciate Joe Flynn. We'll put it up on social media and keep an eye on what's going on and keep everybody informed. We'll do it. And it's a big fight for the future. I hope and pray that it's over soon. So, okay, we'll take a quick break and be right back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Be back in 1 minute.